I've been traveling around the world for the beginning of the 90s. Well, it still is, I suppose. And lately I've been studying here in Amsterdam on the Academy of Arts. And well, these are my paintings.
Right. So some of these paintings are paintings with which you gained your degree at the Academy of Arts?
Well, actually, in the third year now. The works here behind me and over there are my latest pieces. And yeah, so yeah, I haven't had any degree with them because that's going to be next year. But I have been painting maybe seriously from 88 onwards, and I have been experimenting with gallery shows, and I've had some in Italy and in Japan. I'm interested in esoteric backgrounds as such, and I try to integrate them in my work, but on an artistic level rather than just to show images that are maybe familiar in an esoteric line. I try to make them my own and express myself through my work via images that I use from, you could say, there's a tree of life here and there. I find it initially a very interesting form to work with. It reflects in my work, but I wouldn't say my interest in such matters is my main motivation to paint about it. It would rather be from the painting point of view onwards. So yeah, in the first place I'm painting, and then my life, my private or my personal life is shown in my work, but the work is where I come from. Yeah. Well, this one, yeah, it has a personal note to it, of course, as all my work does. But what I specifically like about this one is that it has secrets for me, myself, that nobody knows about. I like trees. I mean, trees of life, but real trees are also trees of life in a way. My newborn child, who's only 2 weeks old now, was born, and her placenta had also like a tree of life. So the mother cook, I suppose that's what it's called in Dutch anyway. And this here tree is behind my house, and people stuck things in it, a nail, and here is a nail and a piece of wood. So I climbed in the tree and took it out, and there's really a little subtle text in this piece here. I like to work with letters just as a image, but also as a meaning provider. Although it's tricky to work with it, of course, because it can be very dominant. But altogether, this piece has a light meaning to me. There's a person here standing with his arms wide in light, and it has a warmth from within coming from it, and it really reflects specific things in life that are integrated and then they're not, and that's also why I have the images separated, as I have in more of these triptychs, is that some things appear to be separate, but they're not. And what I'm trying to show is that things are interrelated in life, but they seem not, but they are. And so even though these things seem to be different, they're all part of the same oneness, I suppose. This is a second piece out of a series of 3, which I called Confessions. Confessions 1, 2, and 3. Well, it says, even though I despise pornography, I'm still attracted to it, which is true for me still. Although stating such, for me, honest and a bit revealing statements, it gives me the space to take distance from them, and it enables me to see what drives me or what you know, what I'm about. It also, you know, makes me see that it's all very silly. But yeah, it's important that there's imagery in here, and then it goes via a seeming nothingness, although there's an interesting detail that if you look long at this and then look here, of course the image comes back, which is a little gadget in my work. It's more of an aesthetic piece. It's called Sun, the Moon, Mother of Life, and it has more of the flow of life and the circle of life. Sun, moon, male and female elements, and of course, there's a little fetus right there. But then I find this piece, although very entertaining, more decorative than some of my other work, especially the one around the corner here, which is one of my latest paintings and one of my best also, I think. I was in meditation, and there's things we could think about, like what happens if I'm irritated, or what happens if I feel powerless, or when I despise someone, and where does it come from, and what does it, you know, mount up to? What does it really say about yourself? And thinking deeper about it, irritation comes from being, I suppose, cheerful within, and so all the opposites are shown in the piece, as well as human interrelation and there's another tree of life there. Yeah, the symbols are very much showing themselves. I don't find it's very hard to interpret my work. Cut the crap, and that very much conveys a feeling that it's very easy to get carried away with all kinds of floating and maybe esoteric things. So for me, grounding is a very strong issue, as well as in my work, as in life. I find it hard or difficult to make things ugly looking, and for me it's always very much a challenge to just make something how it feels, and just make it, even though it might not be beautiful. For some people it's easy to just do as such, but for me it's hard to really make something that I feel is maybe ugly and yet very honest or very true. So this is a piece where I'm combining those things, and I'm very fond of it. Okay. Well, the last piece I would like to say something about is this one. For me, this is a very serene and silent piece, and it doesn't have the lacquer or any of the gimmicks. It's just very basic, and therefore, you know, very good, actually. I have plaster of Paris and acrylics and oils, and it's very much a mixed media piece, and it's called Two Interlocked Tetrahedrons, which is the dragonfly in this way, and then the Buddha and meditating person that way, which is a very complicated situation that I learned from a certain guy called Ananda. I won't get into that very much, but it is something I've been involved with and studying and looking into. It's called vortexia, and it's a principle upon which you can use your tetrahedrons which are in your energy field and turn them around and do shit with it. But not too much about that. All right. This is an earlier work. The reason why it's still up here because it's very much still links to the others, still very much connected to the other works. It's again a male or a male person, which another thing my work is about is yeah, being as such, but also about responsibility and taking care of your own life and independence. And that's why in many of my paintings there is a freestanding male figure who's, you know, illustrating that or showing bits of myself. In this piece there's two people making love, which I drew in the dark by feeling. So I was again with this Ananda. I was in Norway doing a darkroom retreat, which is meditating in utter darkness for 2 weeks on a row. And I drew, feeling horny and all, in the dark. I drew love-making couples, and this specific one worked out very nice, and that's why I used it in my painting. But then I've also used mixed media and you know, a lot of collage and sand, and from up close, which you can't see like that, I don't think, you can see there's a lot of texture and a lot of, you know, little subtle changes in the surface, which for me, as well as in my other paintings, adds to the depth of the image itself. Okay, well, thank you very much.